everyone, welcome everyone to the daily news analysis of 19th of February 2024। तो आज के हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से इम्पोर्टेंट आर्टिकल वन बाय वन डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। पहले जो आर्टिकल है पहला आर्टिकल है सेंटर क्लैरिफाई ऑन आधार एज बर्थ डेट प्रूफ विथ रिस्क राइडर्स मिसप्लेस्ड प्रायोरिटीज देन recalibrating merit in the age of artificial intelligence then ties across seas. What are the IPCC's assessment report? Then why have fresh protest erupted in Senegal? तो पहला आर्टिकल है सेंटर टू क्लैरिफाई ऑन आधार एज बर्थ डेट प्रूफ विथ रिस्क राइडर। To avoid inconvenience to the public and the beneficiaries of government schemes and quell a sense of anxiety about a recent directives to cease the usage of Aadhaar as a proof of date of birth, the Unique Identification Authority of India (UIDAI) is likely to issue a clarification soon that those relying on the ID proof for the age may do after undertaking the risk-based assessments. तो ये UIDAI का कहना है। देन UIDAI is in a December 2023 massive asked all agencies that use Aadhaar to authenticate identities to delete it from the list of acceptable documents for the verifying person's date of birth. The authorities said this was the iteration of its stated position and had been highlighted by different High Court judgments. Now, Aadhaar card comes with a prominent disclaimer, and they are a proof of identity, not of citizenship or date of birth. तो ये बोलना चाह रहे हैं कि आधार कार्ड जो है वो आइडेंटिटी का प्रूफ है, मतलब सिटीजनशिप और डेट ऑफ बर्थ का प्रूफ है नहीं। देन ए सीनियर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी मिनिस्ट्री official indicated to the Hindu that UADI would not withdraw the directive but would soon issue an advisory for agencies that rely on Aadhaar authentication for welfare benefits and KYC, that is know your customer compliances purposes। तो बोल रहे हैं कि जे मतलब ये KYC के लिए और वेलफेयर बेनिफिट्स के लिए यूज किया जा सकता है आधार का। Reiterates stance. The UIDAI circulars in the question reflects and reiterates our stance that an Aadhaar number can be used to establish the identity of an individual subject to authentication and is not per se proof of date of birth. However, the UIDAI is likely to issue the clarification putting the onus on user agency to accept the date entered into Aadhaar request or verify it further, with emphasis being on risk-based assessment. The official said, requesting anonymity owing to the sensitive issue. The birth date and even the address mentioned in Aadhaar are only a reasonable assessment of the age and location of an individual based on the document provided at the time of enrollment, but it cannot be constructed as full-proof evidence for either of those details. It is up to the concerned entity to decide whether to accept them or seek more detailed documents after assessing the risk involved in their use cases. For other authentications, the official explained. Finance Secretary T.V. Somnathan said, "I am certain that central ministries will work out an appropriate arrangement to see that the public and beneficiaries of various schemes are not ad- adversely affected. The date of birth can be verified by using documents such as birth certificates, or school leaving certificates wherever knowing the precise age is critical, be it opening a bank account for a minor or a senior citizen or transferring pensions benefits. He pointed out even a passport or driving license can be used to confirm a person's age. Some entities Like employees provident fund organization have already described others use as birth proof, birth rate proof, while other department and user agencies are still evaluating the impact. Central Board of Direct Taxes Chairman Nitin Gupta said Aadhaar is linked to about 59 crore PAN card and issues arising from the UIDAI diktat would be assessed. Revenue Secretary Sanjay Malhotra noted that Aadhaar is being used for the registration under the GST regime as well as, but the date of birth is not vital in those cases. For date of birth, generally in the government, it is the birth certificate or the class 10 passing certificate that works, he said. तो बेसिकली ये बोल रहे हैं कि आधार कार्ड जो है वो डेट ऑफ बर्थ को मतलब सिग्निफाई नहीं करता है, रेदर इट इज ए आइडेंटिटी प्रूफ ओनली। आइडेंटिटी प्रूफ के लिए ये यूज हो सकता है। और डेट ऑफ बर्थ के लिए आप जैसे बोल रहे, जैसे बोले कि 10th पासिंग सर्टिफिकेट को आप ले सकते हैं या तो फिर बर्थ बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट को ले सकते हैं, लेकिन आधार कार्ड को अब जो एज ए डेट ऑफ बर्थ प्रूफ नहीं ले सकते हैं। इसके लिए अब एम्प्लॉय जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट एम्प्लॉयज प्रोविडेंट फंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उसको स्क्रैप कर दिया था पहले से ही। अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अभी सोच रहे हैं कि वो स्क्रैप करेंगे। तो बेसिकली यही उसका थीम था। नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल है misplaced priorities. Free movement regime between India and Myanmar had more benefits than costs. Nation is defined not by the borders that demarcate it but by the people who live in it. This is not just an abstract adage but a vision of nation building and sustenance, especially for a country that emerged out of colonial rule. The idea of neighborly relation and borders was tied not just to interest of international security for the post-colonial nation state but also to the interest of the people in the border areas and their imagined histories. When Home Minister Amit Shah announced that the free movement regime FMR is placed in the Indian states bordering Myanmar from 2018 would be scrapped, and that the India Myanmar border weapons he was decidedly negating this idea. The ostensive reason for this demand and the need for fencing is because of the porous border has served as a conduct for narcotics beside helping insurgent groups in the northeast to establish bases within the areas in the Myanmar where the junta's reach is relatively non-existent or weak, but these regions are not convincing in themselves. Most insurgent groups have weakened sustainably and successive Indian government have been able to neutralize their threats through the force or peace efforts ongoing or completed. Besides, the drug trade is enabled not only by the borders perspective but also by the relative lack of strong law enforcement with the cooperation of residents. That the demand to scrap the FMR has been most vociferously endorsed by the one selections of the currently conflict-prone Manipur, but has also been frequently opposed by the Nagaland and Mizoram should provide a hint about the sentiments of the people in these states. Myanmar is in the throes of a civil war with civilians from its western regions and states such as Schengen and Chin states seeking refuge and humanitarian relief in the neighboring Mizoram, Manipur, the Mijos of Manipur, Mizoram, and Kokejo community in Manipur feels a niche with the Chin community and have been organizing relief for refugees. The opposition to the FMR has come from the Meitei majoritarian forces in the Imphal Valley who have raised the bogey of Chin refugee entering Manipur as a case of illegal migration. The institution of FMR as a formalized regime of the movement of citizens across the sparsely populated border to the within 16 kilometers of it for trade and commerce was a node to India's Act East policy. This was also an expression of the will of people of the region who share ethnic relations but are divided by colonially drawn boundaries. The reversal of this regime and the homogeneous exercise of fencing a border situated in rugged mountains and forest is a case of misplaced priorities and needs reconsiderations. The next article ties across the seas. At first glance, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's UAE visit last week might have seemed like any other bilateral visit he has undertaken, but this visit, Mr. Modi's seventh to the UAE since 2014, indicates the government's desire to signal more about the salience and prominence of the Emirates that it has with any of the other country in the Gulf region. The timing may have been related to an invitation to address the World Government's summit in Dubai and to inaugurate Abu Dhabi's first Hindu temple, but the 10 bilateral agreement signed with near direct closer look the speed with which India and UAE concluded the comprehensive economic partnership agreement in 2022 has been matched by the last week bilateral investment treaty. This mistake of the UAE, not only the first country the Modi government has signed these agreements with, but also the country, only the country that India has both the trade and investment agreement with. The UAE is now India's third largest trading partner, India's second largest export destination, and fourth largest source of FDI. The inauguration of Bharat Mart for Indian MSME is also expected to strengthen trade ties. A second draft of agreement dealt with technology technological ties including building digital infrastructure, R&D for energy security and trade focusing on green hydrogen and energy storage and digital cross payments. Third, the agreement for an intergovernmental framework on the India Middle East corridor paves the way for multilateral cooperation between the two countries that also coordinate over the I2U2 initiative with the US and Israel and form 2024 with will corporate within the BRICS framework as the UAE is now a member. Finally, the discussions on the Israel-Gaza operation and the Red Sea attack indicates that in a region ruled by conflict, India considered the UAE to be stable interlocutor. India-UAE ties are also built on the bedrock of history and cultural engagement that includes centuries-old maritime trade and diaspora, contributing about 18% of India's global remittances, while India's technological prowess and UAE's positioning as a trade and industry hub bring complementaries. The changes in their polity and societies being possible friction points. As UAE, theocratic monarchy, seeks to democratize its governance and have more pluralistic systems, such as the decision on the temple in Abu Dhabi. It has expressed concern over the rise of majoritarian and sectarian forces in India. To that end, Mr. Modi's word in Abu Dhabi, where he rejoiced in the mutual value of tolerance and pluralism and shared heritage of humanity, may be the most significant bonds between the two countries separated by the Arabian Sea. The next article है recalibrating merit in the age of artificial intelligence. The concept of a meritocracy wherein individuals are rewarded and advanced based on their abilities, achievements, and hard work rather than their social status or background has been extensively debated. Proponents and critics of meritocracy offer compelling arguments about its impact on society, highlighting its virtues and shortcomings. The evolution of meritocracy has witnessed significant transformation influenced by the critics and analysis of the thinkers such as Mitchell Young, Michael Sandel, and Adrian Aldrich. Varied views. Young, a British sociologist, foresaw a dystopian meritocratic world in his satirical book The Rise of the Meritocracy 1958, he envisioned a future, specifically 2034, as a society where a social class and mobility were determined solely by the intelligence and efforts as measured through the standardized testing and educational achievements. It was a critique of the then emerging trend towards a merit-based system, which he feared would lead to a new form of social satisfaction. Sandel's critique focuses on the divisive consequences, arguing that meritocracy fosters a sense of entitlement among the successful and a resentment among those left behind, thereby eroding social cohesion. Critical theorists, including those from the Frankfurt schools, also argue on similar line by the critiquing meritocracy for masking deeper power dynamics and inequalities. They say that meritocracy can perpetuate social hierarchies by legitimizing the status of the elite under the guise of fairness and neutrality. Structuralist challenges the notion of merit, questioning who defines merit and how it is measured. They argue that concepts of merits are socially constructed and reflect the biases and interest of those in power. Post-structuralism highlights the fluidity and contingency of merit, suggesting that meritocratic systems are inherently subjective and can reinforce existing inequalities. In the contrast of Young's dystopian vision of meritocracy leading to a rigid class system and Sandel's emphasis on its moral and social repercussions, Woolridge lays stress on the practical evolution of meritocracy and its potential to form for reform. In his book The Aristocracy of Talent, he explores how meritocracy, initially a force for progress and social mobility, has inadvertently fostered new inequalities by becoming somewhat hereditary, with privileges being passed down the generation despite recognizing the potential for meritocracy to create a new elite. Oldridge believes in its intuitive fairness and proposes reforms that include making selective schools as escalators into the elite while improving access for the unprivileged students and advocating better technical educations. AI is a disruptive factor, however, introducing artificial intelligence into these equations completely complicates the idea for reforming meritocracy. AI, with its rapidly evolving capabilities, will be reshaping merit and the idea of meritocracy in six ways. First, by its very nature, AI questions on the basis of human merits by introducing a non-human entity capable of performing task making decision and even creating a levels that can surpass human abilities. If machines perform the majority of tasks previously deemed as requiring human intelligence and creativity, of the traditional merit metrics and metrics of merit become less relevant. Relevant. OpenAI's Sora is the evidence that creativity is not an exclusive human trait anyway. Second, the advent of AI challenges the traditional notions of individual merit by prioritizing access to of technology. Individuals with access to AI tools gain significant advantage, not necessarily due to their personal abilities, but because the enhanced capabilities of these tools. Third, AI systems trained on historical data can perpetuate and even exacerbates biases present in that data, leading to discriminatory outcomes in areas such as hiring, law enforcement, and leading. These devices can disadvantage groups which are already marginalized. Fourth, a recent paper published in Nature Medicine showed that an AI tool can predict pancreatic cancer in a patient 3 years before radiologist can make the diagnosis. Capabilities such as this can lead to displacement of jobs that involve routine predictable tasks. This also means that AI would impact high wage jobs. Regardless of this, AI would push the workforce towards either high skills, high wage jobs involving complex problem solving and creativity or low skills low wage job requiring physical presence and personal interactions which AI cannot replicate. Yet these polarizations will exacerbate socioeconomic disparities as individuals without access to high level education and training are pushed towards lower wage roles. Fifth, the opaque nature of many AI algorithms coupled with the concentration of power in the few, which is the new sorry. In the meritocratic society, individuals must understand the criteria by which their efforts and talents are evaluated. However, the black box nature of many AI systems can obscure these criteria, making it difficult for individuals to know how to advance and challenge decisions made by AI, thus eroding the meritocratic ideal. Six, at the organizational level, the core of AI's power lies in data and algorithms that process this data. This tech giants with access to the unprecedented volume of data have vast distinct advantage in training more sophisticated and accurate AI models. This data hegemony means that these entities can set the standards for what constitutes merits in the digital age, potentially sidelining smaller players who may have innovative ideas but need access to similar datasets, thus recalibrating meritocracy in the face of AI advancement demands a sophisticated understanding of the interplay between technology and societal structure. It calls for a deliberate rethinking of how merit is defined and reward of when AI tools can both augment human capabilities and deepen existing inequalities. So friends, this is all for today and we will meet from tomorrow onwards with new news articles which are relevant from UPSC perspectives. So till then keep studying and thank you for listening. Have a good day.